Mendez story before? And that is precisely the point, what we are telling the story. The story is actually based on a children's book by the same name by a writer named, let me get his name, Duncan Tonatiuh. And Duncan is an illustrator and children's writer who wrote this beautiful story, having interviewed Sylvia herself and captured the essence of her story. In 1947, the Mendez family, who was running a successful farm business in Westminster County, decided that they wanted to send their children to the white school. Imagine that. They wanted a better quality of education for their children. Well, you see, the Mexican school at that time was a one-room house that was no playground, no grass, and next to a field with cows and an electric fence. Would you want your children in that school? Mr. Mendez had visions of education providing and bringing his family the great American dream. But when they went to register at the Westminster School, they were denied. And this, hence, is the story of how the Mendez family overcame the challenges, the obstacles, the racism, the discrimination to bring about the desegregation of schools in California in 1947. I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that was 7 years before the Brown versus Board of Education. I'll ask you another question. How many of you have learned that in your social studies or American history? That's right. Oh, some of you have? Yay! You are the first people. So that's wonderful because, you see, the Mendez case set the groundwork for the Board of Education. And as you will see, the very court scenes that you will hear tonight are the actual transcripts taken from the court case. We hope Don Bartalo and I, who co-wrote it and he directed it and I produced it, we hope that you will walk away with a greater sense of how diverse our community is here in Rochester and across the nation, and realize that we want to build bridges of understanding, not walls of fear and intolerance. First of all, to please silence your phones. Do not take any flash photography, but if you do take pictures, please post them on our Facebook and like Rochester Latino Theatre Company. You know I'm talking to you, yes, Annette, okay? Also, we want to just take a moment to thank our sponsors, because without their support, their unwavering, continuous support, we could not, the Rochester Latino Theatre Company, bring you and continue to bring you the stories of Latino voices in American history. We want to thank the City of Rochester, the Mayor's Office, and the R Centers. Ibero Poder Radio 97.1, 24-hour Latino radio.
You can download the free app on your phone, on the TuneIn app, and look for Bullet. There we go. Look for Bullet 97.1. You can listen to it anytime.
Thank you. Vargas Associates, the Pipe Company, Canandaigua National Bank, and Mensajero, Salidas Mexican Restaurant, WROC TV, the Gerbeck family, La Familia Goldfeller, and James Schuster, our beloved Jewish grandmother. Everyone should have one. Now, ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy and take in the story of Separate is Never Equal.
Sylvia Mendez was born in 1936 and is 9 years old when our story begins in 1947. She lives with her two brothers and parents in Westminster, California. Sylvia was entering 3rd grade.
Sylvia had on her black shoes. They were shiny new. Her hair was perfectly braided in two long trenzas. It was her first day at the West The halls were crowded with students. She was looking for her locker when a young white boy pointed at her and said, "Why don't you go back to Mexican school? You don't belong here."
Mommy, why is this book so important?
For the rest of the day, Sylvia did not speak or introduce herself in her classes. She kept her head down when walking in the halls. Mantuvo la cabeza hacia abajo al caminar por los pasillos.
I don't want to go to that school anymore. The children are mean.
Niños, don't you know? No saben que por eso es que luchamos. That's the reason we fought.
Years earlier, in the summer of 1944, Sylvia and her brothers Jerome and Gonzalo Jr. and their parents had moved from the crowded city to a farm in nearby Westminster. Her father, Gonzalo Mendez, had labored for years as a field worker. Now, he was leasing a farm. Mr. Mendez was going to be the boss. As the summer came to an end and the first day of school neared, Aunt Soledad drove Sylvia, her brothers, and two cousins to the local school so they could enroll. Sylvia was entering 3rd grade.
I was 9 that summer, and so excited when Teacher Soledad took us to Westminster Public to see about going there. What a beautiful building. The hallways are so wide, so clean.
Good morning. My name is Soledad Viduri. I am here to enroll Sylvia, Jerome, and Gonzalo Jr. Mendez, and my cousins and my nieces, Alice and Virginia Viduri, to this school.
Here are 2 enrollment forms, one for Alice and one for Virginia.
But what about Sylvia, Jerome, and Gonzalo Jr.?
They cannot attend this school. They must go to the Mexican school.
Why do I have to go to the Mexican school? I'm not Mexican. I'm American.
But we live in this part of town.
Rules are rules. The Mendez children have to go to the Mexican school.
I will not be enrolling any of them. ¿Qué tipo de escuela es esta? What kind of school is this?
Soledad did not understand por qué the Mendez children could not attend the Westminster school. They spoke English and were U.S. citizens. Sylvia's mother is from Puerto Rico, which automatically made her a U.S. citizen.
My cousins, Alice and Virginia, have light skin, auburn hair, and their last name is blue. Their father was Mexican, but of French descent. My brothers and I have brown skin, thick black hair, and our last name is Vidui Mendez. I wonder if that is why we could not attend the Westminster school.
I'm so upset, Gonzalo. The secretary at the Westminster school will not enroll Sylvia, Jerome, or Gonzalo Jr. I don't understand why. She said that they have to go to the Mexican school. ¿Cómo va a aprender los niños? I was so upset, I didn't enroll any of the children.
Don't worry, Soledad. There must be some mistake. This is the school that I attended as a boy. I will go see the superintendent, and he will see to it that my children are registered for school. Good morning, Mr. Harris. My name is Gonzalo Mendez.
Good morning, Mr. Mendez. How may I help you?
Recently, my family and I moved to a nearby farm in Westminster. The public school on 17th Street, it is the closest school to our house, and my children should attend it.
I'm sorry, your children have to go to Hoover, the Mexican school.
But why? Pero por qué? The Mexican school is not the closest school.
Because that is how it is done.
Mr. Harris, this is not right. My children should attend the school. That is a school that I went to as a boy. I cannot accept the decision.
I am sorry, but that is right, Mr. Mendez. As the superintendent of all the schools in Orange County, it is my responsibility to inform you that your children are simply not allowed to attend the Westminster School. We have a school for Mexican children, and that's where they should attend.
But why? Nadie me puede decir por qué. Nobody can tell me por qué.
I had never seen my papi so upset. No one would give him an answer he liked, but they don't know my papi. He will not stop until somebody tells him por qué my brothers and I cannot attend the Westminster School. Mi padre está decidido. My papi is determined.
Dicen que por las noches no más se deriva en puro llorar. Dicen que la comida no más se deriva en puro tomar. Jura que el mismo cielo se estremecía al oír su llanto.
That fall, Sylvia and her brothers had to attend the Hoover School, mejor conocido as the Mexican School. There was an electric wire that surrounded the pasture to keep the cows in. If you touched it, you received a shock. The school did not have a room for students to eat their lunches, nor a playground, not even a swing.
My father is not going to give up. Time and time again, I hear him talking to anyone who will listen about the injustice of us kids having to attend the Mexican school. No one knew how strong-minded my father could be.
Mi gente, it is not fair that our children have to attend an inferior school. It's not only the building that's the problem, but the teachers at this school. They don't even care about our children's education. They expect them to drop out by the 8th grade. How will our children succeed and be doctors, lawyers, or teachers? Hay que hacer algo. Something must be done.
But things didn't go well when he tried to collect signatures for a petition to integrate the schools.
Mis amigos, my friends, please sign this petition. We have to show the school leaders that their enrollment policies need to change so that our children could attend the best schools regardless of their skin color. Our children deserve a good education.
No queremos problemas. We don't want any problems. I work on the farm, but if I sign that petition, podría perder mi trabajo. I may lose my job. We support the petition, but we need money to live.
Do you see what has happened? Our children are not even allowed to swim in the public swimming pools. Will you sign the petition now, please? Por favor, firma la petición.
Mr. Mendez, I've heard you try to convince others to sign a petition without much success. You know there's another way. You can file a lawsuit. There's a lawyer by the name of David Marcus. He filed a lawsuit on behalf of the people of San Bernardino to help them integrate their public swimming pools. Maybe you can do the same.
Papi thought the truck driver was right, so he decided to write then and there to high risk to market, even if it meant having to spend all of his savings. I was so proud of my father's decision, but I was also worried about a lawsuit. Estoy tan orgullosa de mi padre. What if we lost?
After Mrs. Mendez got the niños ready for school, over the next few months, Mr. Mendez and Mr. Marcus traveled all over Orange County looking for people who had experienced similar problems.
I watch Bobby leave early in the morning. Sometimes I see him come home in the evening, but often I only hear his footsteps because he was so late. He looks tired. I am so proud of my father, pero también estoy tan orgullosa de mi madre. But I'm also very proud of my mother.
Your papi is going to be very busy with the lawsuits. I'm a student's work on the farm, so he doesn't have to worry about it. I'll need you all to help more than ever before. Juntos podemos hacer que esto funcione. Together we can make this work.
After Mrs. Mendez got the niños ready for school, she would take care of the farm, working in the fields, operating the irrigation system, driving the tractor, overseeing the workers, and solving any problems that might arise. Her work on the farm made it possible for Mr. Mendez to become a political activist.
No te preocupes, no te preocupes, no te preocupes, no te preocupes. Mañana sale el sol, que mañana sale el sol. Si estás cansado, si estás cansado, si estás cansado, si estás cansado, en la noche dormirás. En la noche dormirás.
she was able to change from madre to farmer. La señora Mendez era una gran trabajadora y un líder fuerte.
We need to find other people who will support our cause.
My name is Senor Estrada. I'm a veteran of World War II. I have risked my life alongside Americans of all races and backgrounds.
Pleased to meet you, Senor Estrada.
When I got back from the war, I became angry because I found out that my children couldn't study alongside the white children. They had to go to the Mexican schools.
Es una injusticia. It is an injustice.
I was so happy when the Estrada familia joined the fight for school integration. Because of their bravery, 3 more familias agreed to join with us. They come all over from Orange County. This made Mr. Marquez very happy because he wanted to show that school segregation not only affected me or my brothers, but more than 5,000 children in the public school systems all over Orange County.
On March 2nd, 1945, Mr. Marquez went to the courthouse and filed a lawsuit.
La tierra que hay detrás de mis ojos, un camino vive en pie.
The trial was held in the courthouse in Los Angeles. The hearing did last 5 days.
All rise. The Court of Orange County is now in session. The Honorable Judge Paul McCormick presiding.
Mr. Marcus, please call the first witness.
I call to the witness stand Mr. James Kent.
Place your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Will you please state your name and tell the court what you do?
My name is James Kent, and I am the superintendent of the Garden Grove School District.
Please tell the court why you were called to testify in this case.
I'm a school superintendent, and my responsibilities include enforcing all the district policies, including which school children will attend.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. Would you please tell the court why Mexican American children are not allowed to attend school with white children?
I send children to the Mexican school to help them improve their English.
Eso es una mentira! That is a lie! My English is as good as the English of any of the students in the Westminster School!
Silence, please.
Did you give the children any tests?
We did. We tested them by speaking to them.
That is another lie! No one asks me questions when I try to go to the Westminster School!
Order.
For what other reasons do you send children to the Mexican school?
For their social behavior. They need to learn cleanliness of mind, manner, and dress. They're not learning that at home. They have problems with lice, impetigo, tuberculosis. They generally have dirty hands, face, neck, ears.
The Mendez family and others in the courtroom stare at Mr. Kent. No es cierto y es degradante. What was Mr. Kent saying?
How many of the 292 children at the Mexican school are inferior to whites in personal hygiene?
About 75%.
And in their scholastic ability?
75%.
In what other aspects are they inferior?
In their economic outlook, their clothing, and their ability to participate in school activities.
Mr. Kent, do you believe white students are superior to Mexicans in the respects you have mentioned?
Yes.
And is that one of the reasons why Mexican children are being segregated?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. No more questions.
Time and time again, Mr. Mendez asked por qué his children could not attend the Westminster School. Now, he had his answer. On the second day of the trial, Mr. Marcus called to the stand a 14-year-old student.
Put your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Will you please state your name and tell the court what you do?
My name is Harold Torres, and I'm an 8th grader at the Mexican school.
Thank you, Ms. Torres. Would you please say something else in English for us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. No more questions, Your Honor.
On the third and fourth day, Judge McCormick and the lawyer for the defense, Mrs. Georgia Holden, questioned Mr. Mendez.
Put your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Will you please state your name and tell the court what you do?
My name is Gonzalo Mendez, and I am a farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. Judge McCormick would now like to ask you a few questions.
Mr. Mendez, does your wife speak English?
Yes, she speaks English a little like me, with a broken dialect or accent, as you may call it.
I don't mean the dialect. I mean the ability to put one's thoughts in words in the English language. Can you and your wife do that?
Yes, we can carry on a conversation in English.
Well, do you have any difficulty understanding one another in what you would call your Mexican language and what she would call her Spanish?
No, we have no difficulty.
So, your Mexican language is basically a source of the Spanish language?
Yes.
Thank you. No more questions.
Then Mr. Marcus questioned Mr. Harris, superintendent of the Westminster School.
Put your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Will you please state your name and tell the court what you do?
My name is Richard E. Harris. I am the superintendent of the Westminster School District.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Is it your opinion that children of Mexican descent are inferior because of their lack of English cultural background?
Definitely not. They're inferior only insofar as their grasp of English words and meanings and conceptions are concerned.
Is it your opinion that it is beneficial now for children of the Hoover School to permit them to associate with and to attend at other schools in the district without segregation?
Since that hasn't been done, I have no basis to form an opinion either way.
Well, you, as an educator and a superintendent of schools, could give you your opinion, could you not?
One opinion is oftentimes of such small consequence.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. I have no more questions.
Defense attorney Holden gave the closing arguments for the school district.
In summation, the federal courts have no authority to decide this K-12 education case, since education is entirely a state matter. The Mexican schools are necessary for providing special instructions to students not fluent in English and not familiar with American values and customs. These separate schools are equal to the white schools. In conclusion, the Mexican schools are constitutional under California and U.S. Supreme Court rulings that have upheld separate but equal schools.
I was worried after the testimony given by Attorney Holden, but Mr. Marcus has saved our best witness for last.
I now call to the stand Dr. Ralph Steele.
Put your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
How do you do? Will you please state your name and tell the court what you do?
My name is Ralph Steele, and I'm the head of the anthropology department at UCLA.
Thank you, Dr. Steele. As a highly respected education expert, can you please tell the court your opinion of school segregation?
Segregation tends to give an aura of inferiority. In order for the people of the United States to understand one another, it is necessary for them to live together. And the public school is a mechanism for that because all the children of all the people go.
Is it best for both English-speaking and Spanish-speaking children to be segregated?
Okay, in my opinion, it is not to the advantage of any pupils, regardless of their linguistic background. This is the period between grades 1 and 8 when the Spanish-speaking child is best able to learn control of English. Segregation defeats the very purpose of teaching English, certainly for the Spanish-speaking child.
Thank you, Doctor. No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Judge McCormick took almost a year to give his decision, and that made me very nervous. But finally, on February 18th, 1946, he ruled in favor of Familia. Listen to the words that made us all so happy.
Public education must be open to all children by unified school association, regardless of lineage. Denying Mexican American children the right to attend certain public schools is a violation of the 14th Amendment, which guarantees equal protection of the law. Yo dictamino a favor de la familia Mendez. I rule in favor of the Mendez family.
Judge McCormick's ruling that all children must be allowed to attend school, regardless of race or culture. The Mendez family and many other Mexican Americans believe that winning this case showed that Anglo-Americans do have compassion for the rights of others. Was this a sign of humanity and reason for hope?
Ruling gives Mexican children equal rights. Ruling gives Mexican children equal rights. Ruling gives Mexican children equal rights. We won, and the Mendez victory made newspaper headlines. We were all so happy, but we didn't have much time to celebrate. The Westminster School Board appealed the case, so that meant there was to be another trial.
The appeal was heard in the state court in San Francisco, but the Mendez family was not alone. Many civil rights organizations joined them in the support, like the League of United Latin American Citizens, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the Japanese American Citizens League, the American Jewish Congress.
Look at all the groups who are standing with us. They come from different backgrounds and from different parts of the country. My mommy and Bobby have a right to be so proud.
Cuando se lucha por la justicia, otros seguirán. When you fight for justice, others will follow.
On April 15, 1947, the judges in the Court of Appeals in San Francisco ruled in favor of the Mendez family again. That June, Governor Earl Warren signed a law that said all children in California were allowed to go to school together, regardless of race, ethnicity, or language.
Now you see, boys, we fought so that you can all attend good school and have equal opportunities.
Why don't you go back to Mexican school? You don't belong here! Amigo?
in 2 and 1. Mark Ruba, WROC, reporting. In 1954, 7 years after the Mendez victory, the landmark case, Brown versus Board of Education, desegregated schools in the entire country. Mendez versus Westminster played an underappreciated role in the struggle for civil rights in the United States. And in fact, many of the key arguments in Brown versus Board of Education were assembled in the Mendez case 8 years earlier. Thurgood Marshall, attorney, and Earl Warren, governor of California, and later Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, were key players in the Mendez case and Brown versus Board of Education.
So you see why this book is so important?
We would all be in the same bus, the auditorium, and they would drop us out in front of the white school, this beautiful.
Sylvia Mendez. Sylvia Mendez was thrust to the forefront of the civil rights movement when she was just a child. Denied entry to the Westminster School because of her Mexican heritage, she sought justice, and her subsequent legal case, Mendez versus Westminster, effectively ended segregation as a matter of law in California. The arguments in that case catalyzed the desegregation of our schools prevailed in the landmark case, Brown versus Board of Education, forever changing our nation. Today, Sylvia Mendez continues to share her remarkable story and advocate for excellence and equality in classrooms across America.
Equality in our schools.
Equality in our schools.
going to just do our raffle. So if you bought a raffle ticket, you're going to take that out right now because we're going to pull those raffles out. Tonight we have two beautiful, fabulous raffle prizes. They include a gift certificate to Encante Restaurant as well as, of course, Rochester Latino Theatre Company merchandising. So we're going to bring those out. We're going to do our Q&A. We hope that you stay while the actors are changing and transitioning. I'm going to let you explain that to the audience.
All right. We've got a student here who's graduated from a very fine school in New York City. Rebecca, you probably noticed that the lighting wasn't just right. At 6:30 tonight, our lighting man had an accident. And he was riding his bicycle, and his chain came off, and he went over the bike, and he hurt himself pretty bad.
He's okay.
He's okay, he's gonna make it. And so, he called a friend of his, Dan, who's up there. Can we have a hand, please? Dan and I worked for an hour trying to set up the cues. Now that's not my bailiwick up there, but I knew where all the cues were. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Look at all of you. Look at all of you. We're going to talk to you soon, Laura. Annette?
Yes, so now this is that wonderful opportunity where you get to ask the actors and the director and, of course, the Latino Theatre Company questions about what you saw, curiosities or any information that you want to know from us. So, anybody want to be the first brave, courageous person to ask a question? A question. Oh, don't make me pick you. Yay!
Well, it's not really a question, but I just think it's interesting that California does everything first. There's just a lead is even writings and all sorts of amazing things. So.
Well, it was really the determination of Mr. Mendez that really decided to take action. First of all, a lot of the courtroom scenes we literally lifted out of the courtroom trial transcripts. So all of that transcript was really what they said in those days. Also, really, there was a large migration of Mexicanos in California at that time. And just to give you a little bit of background, Sylvia had a Puerto Rican mother and a Mexican father. And in fact, she just told me this morning that her mother really culturalized herself to the Chicano-Mexican way of life because she was immersed in that culture in California and very far away from her native island of Puerto Rico. So she was totally embracing and accepting of that culture and really found the commonalities between Puerto Ricans and Mexicans. So, question? Yes, wonderful.
Same another question. I want to thank you because you have filled a major gap of understanding that I had. I had no knowledge of the family's plight and how important they were in terms of the following Brown versus education decision. No clue at all. So I thank you for this learning moment. And the other point I want to make is that the play indicates that there's redemption opportunity for everybody. Because what you probably didn't convey is that Earl Warren was the Attorney General in California who signed the order that led to the concentration camps of Japanese Americans. Okay, so here's a guy who, not too far in the past, caused the mass incarceration and concentration of Japanese Americans, and yet made a very honorable and appropriate decision as relates to the education of people.
6 degrees of separation. Mr. Mendez's farm was owned by a Japanese family that was interned in one of those camps.
I want to add one thing.
So you can see the pieces and the elements.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I didn't mean to do that. There's a new book out called Sylvia and I, And I took Sylvia, and I'll tell you, she was here last night. I want to tell you about that. But I took her to the airport, and I said, I just got the book. And I said, that's real, isn't it? She said, oh, yes. And I'm still friends with her. And so, not only did Sylvia go through this with her family, but a young Japanese girl, the same age as Sylvia, went through the same thing. And more questions. Yes?
Can you tell us what was the occupation of Sylvia Mendez and her siblings? What were they able to do as a result of being able to...
Sylvia went on and she became a nurse, and she was a professional nurse for 30 years. And her brothers also went on to successful careers in other areas. So she's the focus of our story. In fact, she was just saying, my brothers sometimes don't like that I get all the spotlight, but they'll just have to get over it after 80 years. She just turned 80 years old. I want to actually identify some of our actors, and of course tonight you got to see one of our wonderfully young and up-and-coming Latina actresses. Sylvia was portrayed by Isabella Martinez. What you learned, what you liked. Why was this important for you to do?
It was very important to me because I didn't know about this story, and they were just bringing me to the story, so I was really proud of playing her because she was a very important person in history.
Yeah, now tomorrow, Sylvia will be played by Nicole. Can you identify yourself? I took Sylvia to the airport this morning about 10:30. She turned 80 the day before she came here, so we had a big cake last night. We sang happy birthday to her. But she's an amazing person. So I asked her, how did you happen to do this? She was a nurse for 33 years in LA. And the Mendez case was almost forgotten. And when her mother, just before her mother passed, her mother said, Sylvia, I really think that you should carry the story out to the country. And so nobody ever mentioned it or anything. Sometime in the 90s, but I don't know when, she began to write, can you imagine, write to every school in California. And finally, some school picked her. It was a high school. And she said to me, Bart, she said, I went into that high school and my legs felt like they were rubber and that I couldn't stand up. And she said, those young men and women were so good to me. And she said, when I got done, I gave them each, and they're educators in this room, and this is a great idea. She said, I gave every one of those high school kids a piece of paper. And I said to them, would you write on that paper what I can do better? And she said, they were marvelous. They said, well, maybe you could bring some pictures or some handouts or something like that. And she built her presentations from there. We loved her, didn't we? She is an amazing woman. 80, just amazing. Yeah.
We also have an amazing cast, and this is a great opportunity for the Rochester Latino Theatre Company to really do several things. To cultivate Latino artists in Rochester, which is part of our mission, and also to really diversify Rochester audiences as well as Rochester theater artists. So I want to actually ask some of our actors. Would you like to share your experience in being, stand up, introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Kathy Kogenauer. I got involved in this project when Bart sent me an email, and then I called him because I got the email late because I'm terrible about checking my email. And when I heard what this was about, my first instinct, usually with any project, is I want to read the script first. And I told him yes without even seeing the script. I just the story grabbed me, what it was about grabbed me, the fact that it was real grabbed me, and I was just honored to be asked. I'd never worked with these fine people before, and it has been one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And I'm good to see you. Just welcomed us and have become my friends, and I love them.
Also spoke to Sylvia, and one of the things that when Bart and I sat to write this, it was a several-month process. So I'm going to just give you the difference. Bart sat with organized color markers, color-coded Post-its, all of his tools, and I never sat the entire 2 to 3 hours of creative writing because I'm a very kinesthetic artist, and the visions of what this story was came out in many elements. And I'll have Bart talk in a minute about the swing. But one of the significant scenes was when Sylvia's mother takes on the role of being the leader on the farm, taking over the family business. This is something that all Latino women do. We step into the role that is needed when our families are in a challenging or have an obstacle or overcome something. We take on that role, and Sylvia's mother did that. And Eileen, who I will share in a minute about, Sylvia said, Annette, how did you know that my mother, when she went to work in the fields every day, sang ranchero songs? And I said, I didn't. The song and that whole choreographed dance is done by people all over the world when they work. It is done by those who know that music and our rhythms and our sounds will carry us through the long, laborious day into the night. And Eileen was so inspired by that, she wrote that original song. Sylvia said it brought back memories of her mother that she had not had in probably 50 or 60 years. So again, when you really look at how people all over the planet overcome the challenges of discrimination, of racism, of cultural alienation, this is that story. It's a universal story. And Sylvia really was giving us the gift of telling her story and bringing it to life. I want to ask a couple of my other actors. I'm going to ask my young actor, Joseph. Joseph, can you share what you told Sylvia yesterday and why you told her that? Joseph?
Stand up, Joseph. Right on there.
I told Sylvia sorry for the Anglo boy said to her 72 years ago because it was very hard for her to get over that. And nobody's ever said sorry for that ever happened to us.
Production, come on, stand up. Oh, don't even look away. Yeah. Stand up. Tell us who you are. Tell us who you are.
Okay. My name is Maria Vega. I work at RIT, and this is my first time I get to work at with the Rochester Latino Theatre Company. I am so privileged and for the opportunity to be able to meet one of a wonderful cast of full talent. I played on Soledad and the play, and it was just a wonderful opportunity to meet Sylvia yesterday. So thank you very much.
How did this happen? There are people in this room that know that book is very powerful. And I collect children's books about civil rights issues. And on Father's Day 2015, my daughter Kristen gave me Separate is Never Equal, Sylvia Mendez's Family's Fight for School Desegregation. I read it. I jumped up. I ran downstairs. I ordered another copy. I called this whirlwind over here. I said, this is a book that we should make into a play. I knew that Annette has the context that we absolutely need with a Latino, not only her group, but her community, right? And so we began to work on that. And I just want to tell you that this is a book that possesses that power. And we would have sold you books, but we sold out like that last night. 48 books. And we should have bought 150, but we couldn't. Because we weren't sure. You know how you do, we're on a shoestring, all right? Now the other thing I want to mention is the swing. I wanted, and Annette and I talked about this at length, we wanted to have Sylvia tell the story, much like Scout into Kill a Mockingbird, okay? And so we felt that the swing would be the place for her to go. But it turned out to be even better than that. First of all, we had to adapt it. And for New York theater, this is nothing. For us, this took almost, you have no idea what the permission to get that little pipe up there. We had to have an architect come and do it. So, and he didn't charge us, all right? I always have to say that too. So, let's look at the swing. It's not moving. Okay? You probably didn't notice this, but through the entire play, Isabella Sylvia, I call them Isabella Sylvia and Nicole Sylvia. Isabella Sylvia just sat on it. She didn't swing. Because what it takes to move that swing is the same thing it takes to move people sometimes. It takes effort. Collaborative effort. And you will notice near the end of the play that it began to swing. Just ever so much. And then, of course, when Sylvia sits on the swing at the end, and Colin, would you raise your hand or stand up? And Colin comes over, and Colin, what did Sylvia say to you? Amigo. And she got off. Did she invite you to sit? And what did you say to her? Friend. Now, folks, public schools are a place for us to learn how to work together. But we've separated them. We're back to where we started. The school named after Sylvia Mendez is totally segregated. 100% Latino. No one else. And that's very difficult. So, Jose, I know you have another point.
Is there a plan to take this into the school system?
I love it.
Oh, we love you.
The Rochester City School District actually reached out to me. We had a meeting already. We are going to be developing the curriculum, and we will be rolling curriculum 3rd grade to 6th grade in the fall. What's wonderful is, that they saw the opportunity because they now have a Latino Studies department, and it's only been at the high school level. 2 schools in our entire school district have it, and they realized, you got to start at those younger grade levels. You got to start at the 3rd grade and start educating not only our city kids, but we had a teacher in the room today from Fairport that's talking about it. I really see the momentum building. And not just the story of Sylvia, the story of Latinos who have contributed to the very fabric of American identity. Yeah. And so that's a wonderful piece. Not only should our children learn and have pride, but all children should should learn about the contributions of great Americans.
Annette, Shannon has a question.
Oh, I was just going to suggest what you already mentioned, but I think it would be great to have this in the suburban schools as well.
Okay. Yes. Another.
Well, the other point I was going to make is that I'm dismayed with the lack of history in general that's being taught in the school system. So to me, while its focus is Latin and Latino history, this is American history.
Correct.
It's American history. And
Correct.
so I'm glad to hear what you shared with me.
Absolutely.
You're
We're
right.
excited. Any questions for the actors or the cast? Joseph, I love that Joseph raised his hand. Joseph, do you have a question for the cast?
No, but will this ever be made into a movie?
Oh, I love it! Sylvia and I actually had a conversation about it. She said that Lifetime has been trying to buy the movie rights to her life story for over 15 years. And she said that she would not sell the movie rights to her life to Lifetime because they are really looking at a very generic, whitewashed version of her story.
Oh.
So I suggested Edward James Olmos, Celia Hyatt. We're talking.
Right.
But she really knows that, yes, the story must be told in a film, and yes, the right people have to tell that story. We thank you all for coming.